Shout out Henry for the beat though, no cap.
Hey guys, what's up? So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my 718 Cayman and how reliable of a car this is. So a quick overview. So this is my 2017 718 Cayman. I've owned this car for about 4 years now, and it's got 40,000 miles on it. Alright, so is this car reliable? So short answer is yes and no. It's not bulletproof. It does have some issues, but for the most part, it's pretty reliable. If I had to give this car a score out of 10 on reliability, I'll give it a 7.5. And if you want to know why I give it a 7.5, well, you just have to stick through this video and find out. This video, I'll be walking around the car and give you guys the issues I've had with the car. So if you're ever expecting to pick this car up yourself, or you already own the car, maybe something you might expect as a possible issue in the future. So let's just walk around the car and get started. Alright, so let's talk about the drivetrain and the engine of the car. Now I've had about 3 issues with the drivetrain and engine of this car. 2 of them were kind of major, and one of them was a little minor issue. So let's talk about the major ones first. So the first major issue I've had with this car is the coolant system. So in this car, the way the dealership explained it to me is, the way the system works is there's basically 3 really simple systems, really simple sensors or systems in the car, and they combine together to make a really complex system. And the problem with that system is if one of those small, simple components fails, it causes an issue with the whole system. Now, the issue I had with this car is the reading of my coolant level. So for whatever reason, it wasn't reading my coolant level correctly, and it was spiking my coolant level to the maximum. So one day I was just driving the car, everything was normal, the car felt fine, and then I look at my coolant level and I just see it spike all the way to maximum. The car tells me to pull over, cool off. I do that, I turn the car off, I let it cool off, I turn it back on, everything's back to normal. I start driving again, same issue, do the same thing, pull over, turn it off, and then I turn it on again, drive, everything works perfectly fine. And I'm just like, okay. I get home, I check the coolant level, I fill up the coolant, everything looks fine, it's all good. So I leave the car there, drive the next couple of days, all good, and then boom, it happens again. It starts spiking again. I'm like, alright, something's wrong. I make an appointment at the dealership, I bring it there, and thankfully they had another car with the same issue exactly, so they knew how to fix it. But the issue seemed to be that one of the systems had failed, and since that system had failed, the other systems didn't know what to do, so it just was spiking my coolant. At least on the reading, it was just saying my coolant was overheating, but it actually wasn't. Pretty nerve-wracking since you're driving a car, it's the display's telling you that your coolant's overheating, but actually your coolant level's fine. And thankfully I had warranty under the car, so everything was fixed for free. But if I didn't have warranty, I think it would have been like a $1,000, $2,000 job, because they had to replace that whole system. And that happened maybe a year ago, so that probably happened around 30,000 miles, so not really the best look. A little quick fix I actually figured out for resolving this issue is, if you actually run into this issue, what you can do is you can turn your AC off and put your climate control to the max setting on high, have it just blow out hot air, and for whatever reason that makes your coolant understand that it's actually fine, and then your coolant level actually goes back to the normal temperature. If you guys do have that issue, you can try doing that and seeing if it resolves your coolant levels. Now for the second major issue I had. So the issue I had here was with the rear axle boot. So the rear axle boot was actually leaking grease. I'll put up a picture on the screen of what it looks like. If that's something you don't get looked at quickly, you could just be driving around, it's flinging grease around, and then over time it could actually cause damage to your rear axle and you have to replace the whole thing. For me, we were able to spot it. It ended up being like an $800 job, and I didn't have warranty at this point, so I actually had to pay this one out of pocket, which unfortunate for me. Like 35,000 miles, 35,000 miles with leaking grease on the rear axle, it's not something you want to see. Okay, now for the third issue, the minor issue. So for this, I actually had an issue with my O2 sensor. It wasn't reading properly, and it was actually, I think it was reading the car more rich than it was supposed to be, and it was throwing a check engine light. Now this is an issue with any car can have this O2 sensor, but I feel like this issue shouldn't be happening at 35,000 miles. When I brought it to the dealership, they actually had like a recall or something for it, so they were able to replace it for free. So other than those 3 issues, I haven't had really any other issues with my engine or drivetrain at all. The car's been really good. Nothing else I can complain about. Alright boys, we're inside the car now. Hopefully you don't hear all those birds chirping and everything. I'm sure that's being picked up in the video. Now let's talk about the interior, tear and wear, all that stuff. Something you might expect while driving the car. Any issues here. So for the most part, my interior has held up great. I have the leather steering wheel, no issues. Everything's still looking good. Nothing really tearing around. There is one small little bubbling here. Like bubbling on the handrest from driving so much, it's a little bubbling here, but nothing too crazy. One thing you do want to be careful about is these buttons right here. Now, for those of you guys who know, this car has notorious for these cup holders, And the problem with these cup holders is you put these cup holders here and it's hanging right over the buttons. Problem is if you have a cold drinks, it has all the condensation. Sometimes the water drops down here. And what you want to be careful about is I've noticed that some of these buttons over time, they become really sticky. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's like really sticky. While on this side, all these buttons are, perfect. They're perfectly fine. While the ones over here, I guess since it's been drippy, these buttons are kind of sticky here. Just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good as these. Let me talk to you guys about my least favorite part about this interior, and that's going to be the sun visors. Now, you guys are probably thinking, sun visors, what's the big deal? Now, this little plastic piece here, the flimsiest thing in the car. Like maybe 10,000 miles I got this car. My passenger was using this mirror. They opened it up, and this whole piece, this plastic piece right here just broke off. And I'm thinking, all right, it's just a little plastic piece. Can't be that much. I took it to the dealership. I said, hey, this plastic piece in my car broke off. And they said you have to replace the whole sun visor for that plastic piece. And the whole sun visor was, I think, like $200, $300. It's insane. Lucky for me, I still had warranty, so I was able to finesse them, and they were able to give me the whole thing for free. Now, I don't even use my sun visor, but I'm going to show you guys how cheap this is. I literally maybe opened this maybe 5 times while owning the car, but look at this. You guys see that? This is a crack here. It's already cracking. I never opened this, and there's already a crack here on the sun visor thing. I never opened this thing, and it's already cracked. That's insane. If you guys have a girl in the car, you better tell her to stop looking at herself in the mirror. She's going to end up breaking that thing off, I'm telling you. Other than that, interior-wise and hold-up-wise, held up great. No complaints here other than this sun visor. That's really the only one. This worst part, I guarantee you. All right, I had to go back in the garage because my neighborhood, they're making as much noise as possible right now. They're just doing everything, mowing lawns, leaf blowing, cars are driving by, birds are chirping. Other than those 3 issues I mentioned before about the drivetrain, everything else on this car has been bulletproof. Everything else has held up really well. In my opinion, I think this car basically still looks brand new. I take care of this car, I clean it. Maintenance is pretty easy on this car. You just take it once a year, get an oil change, just get it checked out. Overall, my rating for this car's reliability is a 7.5. The reason I give it a 7.5 is I'm taking points off for, one, I had those drivetrain issues, which is, if you get those issues, that's going to be something scary. And another reason I'm taking points off is it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cheap and easy fix, Most people are going to go, they have an issue with this car, they take it to the dealership. And then, with going to the dealership, the prices are a little more. Sometimes they're booked, so they can't get you scheduled in right away. So, at least for me, I had to wait, a couple weeks to get my boot issue resolved because, they just didn't have availability for me to get my car in. So, and that gets you a little more worried, like, oh, I don't want to drive the car, it's having this issue. So, yeah, it's just, it can be a little annoying at times. So that's why I'm deducting those 2.5 points. For those of you who are thinking about buying this car, I hope this doesn't deter you from it. This car is otherwise reliable, 100%. And I'm just pointing these issues out because if you do own one, it's something you can look out for. All right, so that's going to do it for today's videos, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you guys own this car, had some similar issues, leave them down in the comments below. Maybe people can check it out and learn something from that. And yeah, hope you guys liked it. As always, don't forget to that subscribe button. Alright, peace out. See you guys in the next video.